All this stuff would be for the farm community and people in the town as well. Mainly for the workings and utensils and all that sort of thing. Well, this was a 3-window lantern made by my father, because he made a lot of stuff, like that was his trade. He was a tinsmith. And he came from a long line of a family of tinsmiths. And he said, unless it was worth putting your name to it, it was no good. He used to make things exactly to what was needed, because, say, that was the lantern for the land in the winter time. They had no other light. This was what they called a quart saucepan. Could be used for milking a cow that would be hasty, or for filling the kettle the water, or if there was a lot of people who had to go to the pump for water at that time. I used to go around to schools and colleges talking about the history and the trades and everything, because I worked with different organisations and with Travelling Community. And I used to bring stuff in. We'd go to conferences and we'd bring buckets, and all the big ones would be all big. But getting them into the boot of a small car was awkward. And one day he said to me, "Mary, will you get me a sheet of brass?" And it was a big, huge sheet. So then maybe it was a week or two after, I came into the house and there was a box like this, banana box or apple box you could call it, but my name was on it. And she said, "That's for you now." And he came in and he said, "Well, that's much handier now, Mary, when you're going around talking, than a huge thing. You can lift the box into where you're going." And I thought it was great, like.
Well, I got to know of Mary before I actually met her, because she's written widely on traveller culture and she's been an advocate for many years on traveller rights. It's very special when people trust to have their objects included in an exhibition. You know, it's not easy sometimes because it's quite personal and you're not sure how maybe they would be displayed. So it was a great leap of trust for anyone who loaned objects to this exhibition.
And they would put it down there, and then they would get water in the bog.
She brought to us the work of her father, Edward Ward, who was a tinsmith. And he was one of 4 brothers that were tinsmiths. And he worked with tin, and then in later life he created this collection using his tinsmith skills, but using brass. And they're very beautiful pieces. They're very interesting because they're miniature and they're used really for educational purposes to show the craft of the tinsmith. The travellers were moving around from spring through the summer, and they would work with the farmers in harvesting and so on, but they would also travel with their goods, and particularly the tinsmith made objects, which were really important. You're talking about a time now before plastics, so very important, but also a time when people didn't throw things out. So every year a traveller would return a tinsmith and he would mend and fix the buckets and the various objects that the farmer used. But there was that relationship. The farmers would also love to see the travellers come in for the stories. They would have goods that they would have bought from the towns and they would bring and sell in the rural areas. So there was a great relationship which was changed, I suppose, with mass production and so on.
Well, the rural economy wouldn't survive without them going around to fix their pots and pans and other wares they would have. And they wouldn't have the utensils, the vessels in other words, for everyday use.
Well, it's great to have President Michael D. Higgins here today to launch this exhibition. He has always been a great supporter of travellers' rights. He's followed, I suppose, the journey of travellers in the past, and it's just over a year since ethnicity, And I think that's
They are
very
the most
significant.
People who have, because they are on the move and because they're moving often between different states, they are the people whose rights are most in peril throughout in our planet at the present.
An exhibition like this is an opportunity for a dialogue between settled and traveller people about what is culture and why is culture different, but how it can coexist, and the value of diversity within Irish society.
It's kind of a recognition for him that his trade, like that people can see him and see the craft of it and how necessary it was.